Yo, haha, Magnificent. What is good, YouTube? Your boy Magnificent coming back with another quick video. Today we got the Yeezy Foam Rnr MX Granite in the building. I will be making some comparisons with the Yeezy Foam Rnr MX Cinders that I got. I want to say it was last year, but there are some subtle differences between the build of the MX Granite that differs from the actual MX Cinders or even previous Yeezys. I'll even point out the Yeezy Foam Rnr Onyx that we've just got during this release. They both made in China. Just want to let everybody know, screenshot right there. But at the same time, there are differences that people may know and there's differences that people may not know. So we'll kind of go over that. Also, I want to say that to say this. I'm pretty sure I saw, and I'm pretty sure everybody else saw, and I noticed that Adidas was making that transition to remove a lot of the Yeezys off their website. I do think at some point they're either going to offset those Yeezys to other tier stores, or it could be a situation where you're probably going to see more Yeezys or different Yeezys, hopefully later on in the year. So I feel bad for people that were like, they kind of saw the Yeezys and they wanted to get them, but it was like, okay, let me wait. And then I'll come back to, the app and order it. And then they came back and then the whole thing was gone. So that's crazy. Another thing that's crazy, I get my package for the Yeezy Foam Rnr Granite. And why on earth did I get this huge, this is a huge box for the Foam Rnrs. That's insane. But anyway, let's get straight into this. Now, this is the Yeezy Foam Rnr MX Granite size 13, and of course you kind of really don't see it all that much, but you see the barcode right here. And I do want to say this, that the Foam Rnr boxes that you guys get, for those that don't know, you can actually kind of inverse what you're seeing. So although you don't see the Foam Rnr style, at least the font and stuff like that, you can inverse it so that it will look like this. So instead of looking at the Foam Rnr on the inside of the box, once you take the top lid off, you can kind of inverse everything. And I'll show you a quick example, because before we get into the MX Granite, it's actually really simple. The first thing I always do, let everybody know, I always start with the lid. The lid is the first thing to kind of inverse, and once you get that down pat, it's easy from there. You'll have it kind of lay on the flat, and there's two tabs on each side that you can kind of have to put together. You'll see a demo right here. And then once you get that side back up, boom, you kind of put the two tabs, if I'm not mistaken, in each corner, secure it, go to the other side and kind of do the same thing. And then once you have everything all established, it'll look exactly like this. So with that said and done, let's get straight into the Yeezy MX Granite. And oh man, I got to take a look at this just because I've seen people review it. I've seen the differences, but I noticed one huge difference that maybe some people do or do not know. So let's take this out and I can show you some pictures. I do want to show you the material in this, because when they designed the Yeezy Foam Rnrs, as I mentioned on the Yeezy, I think it was the Foam Rnr Onyx series, that this is part algae and part foam, like EVA foam. Everything one molded. The only thing I don't know about these newer designs is how much of it is algae, how much of it is foam, and how much did they blend together, because there is differences, as I said, with the Yeezy MX Granite model, at least the Foam Rnr, versus the original models that released previously. Again, this is the MX Cinders. So outside of the box, you can see that here's your RFID tag. I always put the demo there. Then you can also see, looks like mine was built or made. Production date shows December 2022, give or take. And of course, if you look on the inside of these Foam Rnrs, it's just like any other Foam Rnr, but you can see, and I'll show you a picture, you can see the inside of the Foam Rnr where it reads Foam Rnr, the size, and it's also made in China. That's usually always imprinted on these Foam Rnrs. But let's just start talking about the differences between the older Foam Rnrs versus these newer Foam Rnrs. So everybody tells you that, look, yes, they are more rounded towards the toe. What it means is basically in the older Foam Rnrs, when you put your foot in on the actual bed itself of the Foam Rnr towards the toes, your toes will kind of converge up. So the more you push up, you'll notice that your toes will kind of like do this, right? On the newer model, it's more of a flat seam where you could push your toes up and have more space, and it'll be flat versus like this. So that's one of the differences. The second difference that I noticed was the arc. So some people may or may not notice the arc on the older foam runners. You'll notice that it's more flat towards the inside. So if I took my fingers and I worked towards I want to say the middle portion of the foam runner, where your arc of your foot would be, just to measure it, you'll see like it's about this much width, or at least space, between the inside and outside, or at least the interior exterior of the foam runner towards the arc. When you do the same test with this, it's a lot thicker. Pause. With the arc. So towards the interior, exterior, there's more space. And what that means is if my foot is sitting in the older foam runners, my arc is, at least the arc of my foot is kind of rested towards the bed. It's like flat. But if I try these new Yeezys, the arc rises a little bit, which for some people it's going to kind of take getting used to, just because if you're so used to these older style foam runners and you're used to that flat, I guess, stature, you're going to notice the difference with this. And some people like it, some people don't like it. That's one of the big differences. Another thing is, what I was talking about earlier was that foam and algae combination, because the older foam runners, even the Onyx, and I'll demonstrate it. I think I did this with the Yeezy slides, but when you want to sit there and bend this, I can do this with ease. This is the MX Sender. This is the Yeezy Foam Rnr Onyx that released this year. And I do the same thing with ease. But when you go to the Yeezy Foam Rnr, oh man, this is like, this is tough. This is, I mean, look, you're looking at it right now. It's one of those things when I looked at this and I was kind of shocked, because I could feel like this would be a little bit more, it'll kind of last longer, other than, you know, just seeing this. And I'm kind of shocked that they actually did this, but it seems like with the newer models that they've been experimenting and they're trying to, I guess, get the longevity of the actual newer models to work versus the older models. Like the older models, if you wear them over time, they can wear down. And I feel like the newer models are geared to actually last longer. And that's with the newer Yeezy slides and the Yeezy Foam Runner. So, and looking at this, I dig this. I like the actual mix, but it's kind of like a touch. I want to say it's like a gray, dark gray, light gray. It's like a camo. But I don't know if this is like sky blue, like a hint of blue in it. But it looks kind of like it looks like a blue hue, but it has different shades of gray in this camo style. And of course, you can't forget that the tread on here is kind of the same with the older models. I didn't see much of a difference there. But the biggest difference with the newer foam runners, at least this newer MX Granite foam runner, and I'm not sure if when they come out with the Vermilions, I'd imagine that because that was a shoe that kind of is close to the older version. I think the build of the Vermilions, if they re-release, will be like this. But these newer foam runners that they come out with, I'm not sure how many more they're going to do. So it might be kind of a collector's item if this is the only newer model style foam runner that comes out. Hint, hint, just letting everybody know. It could be a collector's item. You never know. This could be the last new Yeezy foam runner that we actually get in this new model design. Comment below. Let me know what you think of the Yeezy Foam Rnr MX Granite. Do you feel like this is a better version or a better idea and concept of the actual foam runner versus the existing ones that we've seen? I showed you at least the ventilation portion where they're kind of similar because they're both made in China. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I kind of pointed out that the US version, the ventilation system, at least towards the top of the Yeezy Foam Rnr towards the toe, where it's a little bit wider, you can see that they're similar by design here. And again, just to recap, only three differences I see is the fact that the older model is kind of more elastic than the newer model. The arc design towards the foam runner, where it's a little bit thicker, it'll kind of lift your feet up a little bit before, you know, your toes kind of sit there in the flatbed of the actual toe area. And then the toe area is more wider on the newer versus the older. Your boy Magnificent Man, anybody ask me about the sizing on the newer, and this is because of the arc and the whole open space toe concept where it's wider. I think you could go true to size with the newer models. I feel like it's the older models where they tell you to go to size up, which makes sense because it's more narrow and pointy towards the toe area. Let's do that on feet. Your boy Magnificent MX Granite. Comment below. Let me know what you think about the newer model and what you've seen, at least on the Magnificent channel. I am out. Hopefully we see more Yeezys in 2024. And you guys, stay blessed.